Tower of Terror too. I mean, it's not a tier 1 ride, but it's a tier 2. This one we always rope drop. If you're rope drop people, like I strongly recommend, and you love Tower of Terror, I strongly recommend booking one of the other rides as your multi pass and just rope dropping Tower of Terror, because everybody that rope drops goes to Mickey and Minnie's and they go to Rise of the Resistance. So like every time
Mhm.
we rope drop Tower of Terror, and we're on and off in 5 minutes. Like
I
it's
will
such a
never know
sport.
that.
Oh, best ride
No,
ever. Love it.
never. They
We have
couldn't
to do
pay
a family
me.
trip to Disney, and we're gonna ride it. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna film
Yeah.
it, and we're gonna get a million views off of it.
Oh gosh. So, quick side note, one of the other, podcasts that I follow, the Disney Nerds, Jimmy Horn is a local. He lives in Marrero, and,
Yeah, okay.
he tried guilting me into riding it and saying, "Well, what if I donate so much money to Give the Kids the World in your name?" And I'm like, "That is terrible, because now you're making me feel guilty, but I cannot do it." I'm terrified of heights, and I just like, the
But you don't
Skyliner is
even
my
know that
limit.
you're up that high. You don't, because it's like whoop whoop, and then you just drop. Like it's
But
fine.
it's so, like, if I knew exactly when it was gonna drop, then maybe I could handle it a little bit,
Then
but
it
it's the
wouldn't be a fun
anticipation of not
ride.
knowing. Well,
That's what
yeah,
makes it.
I'll take your word
That's
for it. Poor Braden got
awesome.
suckered into it on his high school trip, and then his girlfriend, the last time we went, made him ride it, so he's the only one in the family who's done it, and he
Well, I'm
was
gonna
forced.
find this other podcast guy and partner with him on raising money for you to ride Tower of Terror.
Hey, we'll see.
Welcome back to Going Beyond the Castle. I am your host, Fred Briley, and with me, as always, is my fabulous co-host, Lori Talamo, and we are super excited to be back for episode 6? 5? Are you sure? I think
6.
it's 6.
No, 6.
Yeah, it's 6. Yeah, we're on
Uh,
episode 6. We got to figure out a better way to keep track of this. But no, we're super excited to be back for episode 6. We've got some pretty cool stuff that we're going to talk about when it comes down to all the fun ways that you can skip the lines at Disney World, Disneyland, and Universal. So we've got some pretty cool stuff, some great information that we'll talk about, tips, tricks on how you can make the most out of your trip to Disney and Universal. But before we dive in, of course, I think we've got some pretty great announcements that Disney just dropped recently, especially in regards to the upcoming changes to Disney World, right?
Yeah, so they've released some concept art on the new Pirates of the Caribbean Lounge at Magic Kingdom. Initially, it looked like a pretty rugged type lounge. Now it seems the picture that they released now is a little bit more laid back um, type vibe.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it says it's a less rowdy concept art. So
Hmm.
we'll see what happens when it comes out. I mean the first picture there was like pirates standing on the bar, with their sword. Now it's just chill, chill vibes. Pirates sitting at a table.
If there's no pirates singing in this lounge, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's a missed opportunity if they
Oh
don't do
yeah.
that.
If there's somebody's not like, walking around singing "Yo ho, yo ho, Pirate's Life" for me, I'm walking out.
Right, right. Let's see what else we got. We got a Moana themed float revealed for the new Starlight parade that's going to be at night over at Magic Kingdom. Perfectly timed with the new release of Moana 2 coming out at the
Right?
end of November. And matter of fact, I don't know if you girls are moviegoers, um, but we're definitely going to go see that. So no,
I,
not yet.
I don't know. Like that, it depends on their mood. I want to go,
Gotcha.
especially because we watched Moana this afternoon, and of course they love Moana. I want to go. I don't think they're ready for movie theaters yet. I don't know. We'll see.
Gotcha. Well, you can get a babysitter and y'all can come with us.
I have you. What's that? What's that? Billy Madison, the movie where Adam Sandler goes back to school to finish high school. Have you seen that?
Mhm.
Do you
Oh,
remember when he
I-
goes back to kindergarten and he's like sitting on the floor out crisscross applesauce and he's like surrounded by all
yes.
these kids? I saw a meme of that today and it was like me seeing Moana 2 when it comes out. I was like, that's going to be accurate.
Yeah.
Although I
For
think there's going to be
sure.
a lot of Disney adults go see that. Like they were saying this is
Yeah.
supposed to be between Moana. What's the one we're going to see? Wicked, and there's a third movie that's supposed to be dropping Thanksgiving time frame that like the president of Fandango is like, this is going to be the movie trifecta for movie theaters. I don't remember what the third one was, but there's a lot of good movies coming out, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. We're definitely movie buffs. So y'all can come hang out with us.
I'm down.
And then the last one we have to share is the list of villains that are going to be over at Magic Kingdom in the Villains Land. Queen of Hearts, Jafar, Evil Queen, Lady Tremaine. Oh gosh, I shouldn't have started reading them because some of the names I'm probably going to butcher.
Oh yeah, I
Cruella,
butchered them
Captain
early
Hook,
off.
yeah, Maleficent, Gaston, Ursula, and I'm gonna leave the rest to be desired because
But
I don't want to
you
butcher
gotta
the
at
names.
least say Yzma because that did if
There you go.
I'm so excited to have Emperor's New Groove have a full-time presence in Disney parks because it's one of the greatest. It's a Disney classic, like fabulous movie. And if they don't make a ride solely based on Kronk pulling the lever, I'm gonna lose faith in Disney.
Yeah, and Maleficent's dragon. I could say that too. So pretty neat.
Maleficent, yeah,
Lots of villains. So
yeah.
that'll be an interesting area.
I'm excited. It's going to be a super good area. I'm looking forward to getting more details. And all of that was released at D23 Brazil too. So we'll see what they release over. I don't know when the next D23 event is. I think it's next fall. So we'll see.
Fun stuff. Yep. So that's the announcements that we have this week.
All right. Well, let's dig into skipping lines because I think nobody wants to stand in line, especially at Disney World when you pay as much as you do already. Um, and it's crazy to me, which I get it, like inflation, all this stuff. Like it's 2024, a lot of things have changed, but I really do miss the days of the three free fast passes
Yeah.
that you booked. Like what was it? Fast passes were like 60 days out. I was
Yeah. I think it used to be, oh, gosh, I feel like
dining was like
before, or maybe I'm
120
thinking
days out.
dining. Yeah. It was 60 days,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah. I
I,
remember the very first trip we went on in 2014. A friend of mine was going as well at the same time. And so her and I were up like at midnight
yep.
like working on our fast passes together. Like we had this was when I was the queen of spreadsheets. So like I had the whole spreadsheet of what
Oh
day
yeah.
where we would go in and color coded and all of that fun stuff. But that's part of the fun to me though. I know some people don't like it,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I'm a
especially
planner.
back
So I
then, because
love
like you could strategically plan you could book your dining 120 days out. So then you could strategize your park day and then 60 days out you could book your fast passes based off of your strategy. Like it was a smooth
yeah.
planning process. And now it's just kind of like let's wing it and see what we get.
Right. Well, and especially now with dining being 60 days, but then now you can't book your lightning lanes till 7 days. I mean, it's kind of similar. At least you have your days
Yeah.
based off your dining, but yeah, it's the days of winging it are over.
Yeah.
So yeah. When folks say, "Oh, I'm just going to go and show up," kind of makes me cringe a little bit. I mean, as long as you don't care what you're doing, but
No. I no, I don't know how people show up. It makes me want to vomit when they're like, "I'm just gonna wing it and see what happens." And I'm like, "No, please don't do that," because you're going to be the person that then comes back and says, Disney sucks. All I did was wait in line and pay for overpriced food. And I'm like, well, did you plan it? No. There's why.
Right.
We plan it and you
Yeah.
never wait in
Now,
line more than like 10 minutes. Like,
right. And if you go multiple times like we do, then there's some occasions where, yeah, we've already done almost everything. So we don't really care what we're going to do this trip. So we
yeah,
are just going to go and just kind of go with the flow. That I kind of get, folks that go, but if it's your one-time trip, which I'm a firm believer that people who say, oh, it's a one-time lifetime trip, no, because you're going to get addicted. Um,
yeah,
unless you don't
mhm,
do the things that we tell you to do. But,
yeah,
those kind of folks, or if you know you're not going to be able to go for several years, definitely need to get some planning in there.
yeah. Which I mean, the couple passes, the premier pass is probably not for the once in a lifetime. I mean, it could be. I don't know, but Disney's definitely got some affordable options that people can book to get those key rides and make sure they ride everything that they want to ride. Um, you want to talk single pass first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I do. I know we spend a lot of money already, but I do get the single pass um rides. Well, for one, now I can tell you, so at Magic Kingdom there's two. There's Tron and there's Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yep.
For Tron, it depends on who I go with. If we have the kids with us and I know we're going to want to ride it, I'll definitely do the virtual queue when they had it and pay for the single pass just so we can ride it twice.
Yep.
Same thing with Guardians over at Epcot. So that's the only single pass Lightning Lane that you get at Epcot is Guardians. I will do the virtual queue when they had it and get the single pass because we want to be able to ride it twice.
Oh yeah.
Over it. Yeah. And Hollywood Studios has Rise of the Resistance. It depends. I don't typically get that one.
Mm-mm.
We'll wait in line
Same.
because last when Josh and I went in October, the price for Rise it was $25. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to pay $50 for us to just ride that one.
Yeah.
And then over at Animal Kingdom for a Flight of Passage, favorite ride. So I definitely buy that one.
Oh yeah. We did it this when we went back in September. I don't know why. I just because it's such a great ride. We normally ride it with maybe it's just the kids. We just didn't feel like doing rider swap, but it's a must do ride.
Yeah, I mean, we'll try to do it twice if we can. It's so amazing. I remember when we went a couple of years ago, I think it was, and we took my in-laws. They had never been to Disney before. And so we took them with us on a trip, and my both of them, they just thought that ride was so amazing, like the special
Oh
effects. It had been my favorite until Guardians came along, and so
yes,
now it's second to
yeah,
Guardians.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the single pass, like I mean, it just depends. Now I think Guardians is now has the standby line,
Mm.
or is it Tron? Now I'm questioning myself.
Ron has
Tron
standby. Guardians
has
is still
it
virtual.
still virtual queue. Um, Yeah, so it just depends. If those are like something that you definitely want to ride and you can afford to purchase them, then the option is there. Like Flight of Passage and Rise, you do have the option to stand in line. Those tend to get longer. So our strategy, I don't know how y'all do it for those type of rides, is we either go there first, which we're not
Mhm.
rope drop family, so we don't usually get there for rope drop. Um, so if the line is too long, then we get in line at the end of the night. Because as long as you're in line before the park closes, then you get to ride it out.
Yeah,
Um, so that's what we typically do with those there. But
we usually
again, it
rope drop.
depends on who's with us.
We're
Yeah, rope
rope
drop.
dropping
Yeah.
all day. Love rope dropping. Don't know why, but something about Disney. I'm always up for being up at the butt crack of dawn and standing in line to race through the park.
See, I'm awake, but the rest of the family
Yes, we've had that conversation
tends to
before.
not. Yes. Yeah, so I try not to be too pushy. So
Yeah.
I'll let them sleep a little bit and then I'll start making noise.
And so each of those rides that you named off fall under the single pass. So that means that it's a pay per ride type thing. Um,
Yeah, pay per ride, and not included in the multi-pass.
correct. Separate.
So separate. And with those, it's also good to mention that with the single pass, you can't modify or cancel them.
Yep.
So once you purchase it, it's purchased. Now, if the ride is down all day or there's some kind of technical issue on Disney's part, typically you can go to a Blue Umbrella, and talk, and they'll usually help you out. But if it's something where you miss it or you don't go, um, no refunds. Now, again, you can always go to the Blue Umbrella, and depends on who you get. But the rule of thumb is that it's no cancellations, no modifications, no
Yeah.
refunds.
Especially at that point, if you're already in the park, and it's yeah, might as well just go knock it out.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the ones too. It's hard because you book it for the time that's available, so then you kind of have to make your day work around that. However, Guardians is number one, so I will definitely work my way around that.
Well,
And
and
even
like
with
I've heard like a lot of I've heard a lot of good things about, the time windows. Like, I mean, if you walk up and you tell them like, "Hey, we missed our window. Can we still get on?" 9 times out of 10 they're going to be like, "Yeah, yeah, come on, go on your ride." Um
yeah,
cuz they understand like things happen in the park, like especially if you got kids or, if you get caught up in something that you didn't expect to get caught up in, like they know. It's very rare that you get that cast member that's like, "Sucks to suck, and we're keeping that 50
right.
bucks." Like, so 9 times out of 10, like they're usually really flexible about like what was it? I mean, it was Tiana's. Like we got virtual queue for Tiana's, and we showed up like an hour and a half late because it got called right when we were walking into dinner. And so like we showed up and like I was fully prepared to show a receipt and be like, "Can you please let me in?"
Hmm.
I was just like, "Hey, we were at dinner." She's like, "It's fine, go in."
Yeah,
She
you brought up a good
didn't
point. I was going to
question
say
it.
that because a lot of people ask, what happens if or even with the virtual queue or with this, what happens if it's the same time as my dining? Go to your dining reservation and then, keep a receipt just in case they do ask. And that way you can say, hey, I was
Yeah.
at dining, here's my receipt, and they'll let you on.
It wasn't even the same. It was the we had the opposite way around too for Guardians. Like we got Guardians and right at our dinner, and we were over by Garden Grill, and they were like, "Go ride Guardians. We'll make sure you get seated when you come back." When 2 hours late for a dining reservation, they're like, "It's fine. We remember you have a seat." I'm like, okay. So like most of the
Yeah,
cast members for Disney are like super flexible. So like if anything happens, like just be honest with them, and 9 times out of 10 they're gonna hook you up and make sure you have a magical trip.
absolutely. And it's the way you approach them too.
Yeah,
If you approach them nicely and explain what happened, then I would say 10 out of 10 times they're gonna help you out.
yeah, absolutely. Unless you just got that
Yeah.
one, unless you were the second person in line and the first person just royally pissed them off, and they're like, "I'm done with
Right. Then
today."
they're gonna be like done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like definitely Lightning Lane is definitely for those top rides in the parks that everybody wants to ride. Uh, and they follow the same booking rules as multipass. 7 days for on site, 3 days for off site.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
which we'll get into when we. Well, we might as well hit it now because I mean, a lot of people don't stay on site at Disney because it's. I mean, they think it's better to stay off site. Um, so might as well hit those on site. What's considered an on site hotel? Because there are some non Disney hotels that are considered on site.
Right. Like the Swan and Dolphin.
Yeah. Shades of
and the
Green
Swan
is
Reserve.
considered.
Yeah, those are all. I know because I've seen some discussions on some of the Facebook groups where they're like, it's, on property. That's the term that we use for the Disney hotels, like on
Yeah,
property. They're not physically like how we talked about Disneyland, how you walk out of
yeah.
the Grand California and it's right there. But all of those Disney hotels, like those are Marriott, the Swan and Dolphin and Swan
Hmm.
Reserve are Marriott hotels, but those are considered part of the Disney property
Yeah.
hotels.
So you can book
Um,
7 days out from your check-in day if you're staying in one of those spots.
yes, for the length of your stay. I think for now 10 days. I know dining is 10 days. I thought I saw somewhere it said 14 days, but it's probably 10 days.
Now I'm curious.
Because
I thought it
dining
was 10
is,
days.
yeah. I know dining is 10 days. I don't, yeah, we have to look that up.
Good thing I'm on the website.
Yeah. And another perk of staying on property. Because I see in a lot of groups discussions where, people get frustrated because they can't book something. And this is kind of more with dining too, and with the lightning lanes where they're all booked up. But you have
14.
to understand that it's 14. Okay, I thought I
Yeah.
saw that somewhere. Folks that are staying, it is up to 10 to 14 days now. So somebody who's checked in a week before you, has the opportunity. So then if you're off site and you
Yeah.
only have 3 days, you have less of a window. And to me, I think it's great that they do this because staying on property should give you some perks. If
Yeah.
everybody had the same opportunity, then really, why would you need to stay other than just being in the bubble and the transportation? But I'm glad that they have that separation.
Yeah. And I mean, even to sidetrack, like, we gotta have the dining conversation at some point. But that's like dining reservations is my sole reason for never wanting to stay off site because, staying
Yeah.
on site, 60 days, you can book up to 10 days. You stay off site, you got to book 1 day, and then you got to wake up the next day and book another leg. And it's,
Yeah, and actually Disneyland is like that too.
yeah, I know
Disneyland
Disney's
is
like that.
by day.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's real fun when you have, clients that stay off site and you gotta wake up every morning and do their dining.
no.
But we do it. But yeah. No,
We,
definitely a perk of staying on
yeah.
site.
So yeah, that's Lightning Lane, single pass. Very similar to that. Anything else we want to hit on the single pass? It's pretty self-explanatory. Like,
Yeah.
you book it.
Yeah,
It's
I
one
think
of,
that's
you
good.
get up. You can only have two a day.
Yes.
Max is two a day. You can book it multiple parks. So if you're going to park hop, you can book one. You could book, um, you could book Avatar, and you could also book Rise of the Resistance. Like, but you can only have two a
Yeah.
day. So, and you can only do one per ride, right? Like, or am I just making that up? Like, you can't
No,
book like two
you
Trons.
can't
You have
do
to book.
right.
Once
One.
you book that
Yeah.
ride for the day, it's blocked off. Um, so yeah, that's an important thing to know. But you
Yeah.
can't have up to 2 days. So it does allow park hopping.
Yeah.
Um, next one is the multi pass. It's still I still chuckle at the amount of confusion that there was when Disney dropped this. It's just some people struggled. So multi pass is, I mean, exactly what it sounds like. It allows you to book multiple rides at a park per day. Uh, so I guess the way that I always explained it to people is you can pick up to you can pick 3 rides per day in advance. And then it's, use one, gain one. So once you scan into a ride and use that ride that you booked, you can go book another ride. So you can just
Sure.
continue
Yeah.
booking, but you can only have 3 selected at one time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I like how they changed that from Genie Plus to the multi-pass. Because before
yeah,
there was a window where you had
yep,
to wait an hour or so,
yeah.
or 2 hours
You had,
after the park
you had
opened.
to set
And
that alarm and remember to hop back on and get your next ride.
yeah, so I think that was a really good move. to make it as soon as you use one that you can use one, especially for
Yeah.
folks who do want to park hop too, because
Yeah.
eventually you can start booking for your second park.
And that's like, that was, I think that was the biggest question I always answered, because when this first came out, like, I was posting on a couple of Facebook groups, and like the biggest question was like, well, how do you park hop? Like, because you can only book 3 rides. And like the thing, like what I kept trying to emphasize to people is that it says you can select up to 3 rides. So like I would always tell people, like, well, if you're gonna start at Animal Kingdom and then go to Magic Kingdom, uh, you know, book, 2 rides at Animal Kingdom, and then once you check into Animal Kingdom and you use your first ride, you can book another one for Magic Kingdom. Like I always tried to tell them that, like, you don't have to book all 3. Um, but that is kind of the crabby part. Like you do have to do a little bit of planning because you have to know what park you're going to start in, because that's the park that you have to purchase multi-pass for. Um,
Right.
so if you don't, like, if you're just going to wing it, like, it's not going to, multi-pass is not going to work well for you.
Yeah, and I know a lot of folks probably would try to, and the reason of doing that is because, of course, I'm pulling up my pricing. Animal Kingdom's going to be the cheaper pricing. So if you could
Yeah.
just book that, then folks would always book multi-pass for Animal Kingdom, but then start selecting rides at Magic Kingdom, which
Yep.
is the most expensive.
Yeah.
Um,
All day.
yeah, and so the good thing with multipass is that you can modify or cancel. So if you book a
Mhm.
ride, and then this happens often with us when you're there, and you're like, oh, I booked this multipass, but it's got a 20-minute wait, which is really not that long, or a 10-minute wait. Then you can cancel it, modify it for something else, and then just go get in the standby line.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a
so
lot of
that's a
flexibility with
good,
multi-pass. A lot of flexibility.
yeah. And
Um,
so I guess we should dive in with the way that it works too, is that there's the tiers. So each
yep.
park, except for Animal Kingdom, you can book any 3 rides.
Yes.
With Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios, there's 2 tiers. So
With
there's
the
a tier
exception of
one.
which is important to say. You can't book
Oh yeah,
Avatar with you can't book a single pass ride as a multi-pass ride.
correct. Yeah, the ones that are single pass are not included in the multi pass.
Correct.
But everything else in that park is.
Yes.
So there's a tier one where you book 1 ride from tier one, and then you book 2 rides from tier two. Or you can book 3 from tier two if you choose to. But of course, the most popular rides are in tier one. So then you have the dilemma of, do I
Mhm.
pick Big Thunder Mountain, or do I pick Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
Yeah.
Because of course, for Magic Kingdom, tier one is Big Thunder, Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan, Space Mountain, and Tiana. Um, so it's just the deciding factor of which one of those do you want to do the most. The one that tends to book up the most is the one that I would pick, and then pick 2 from tier two.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean that's definitely where, I'll throw my little piece in there. There's a lot of websites out there that kind of give you an idea, because again, multi-pass falls under the same exact thing as single pass, and that you can book 7 days out if you're staying on site, 3 days out if you're staying off site. And there's a lot of really great websites that out there that maintain the data, and you can see, 21 days out. Like a big one that I use is thrilldata.com. I use this to help my clients, and it breaks down each ride in the multi-pass, and then it goes by day, 21 days out. So you can see, like, if you're going to be in the park on, like right now specifically, if you're going to be in the park in Magic Kingdom on November 17th, Tiana Bayou is already sold out. Like there's no chance of you getting it. But if you're also going to be in the area on the 16th, Tiana Bayou is available. So you may want to kind of shift your days around
Adjust your days.
and go on the 16th, so that way you can book Tiana's Bayou. So there's a lot of really great tools out there that can kind of help you, make your selections and figure out, because one of the things that we talked about was like, how do you want to book? So you definitely want to do some planning into that. Because again,
Yeah, I'm
like,
gonna check that site out because I hadn't seen
yeah,
that one before, so I'm interested in looking at that.
yeah. So, because like one of the things too, I feel like we're going to be all over the place on this podcast, and that's fine.
It's
Um,
okay.
One of the things too is like the tier 1 and the tier 2 only applies to your pre-selects. So once you scan in to your tier 1
Mhm.
ride, you can book another tier 1. You can book any ride that falls under the multi-pass. So
Yeah,
just because just because you pre-select Tiana's, doesn't mean you can't book another tier 1. Like once you use Tiana's, you can go book Jungle Cruise. So you really got
yeah,
to pay attention and be like, okay, well, we're going to be in Magic Kingdom on this day. This is a super popular ride, so let me do that as my tier 1, because chances are, once I get in the park, I'm going to be able to book Jungle Cruise like later in the day. So that's
yeah.
that's a really solid tool to use to help you kind of plan out your stuff.
Yeah, and on those, it's best to get it as early as possible. That way you can hurry up and get in there and scan in and get the next one that might be difficult to
Yeah,
get. Peter Pan's Flight is always that I love that ride,
never
but the
understand it.
line is it's and I'm guessing it's because of the seats, it only fits
Mhm.
2,
Yeah,
so it takes longer to load, but it's crazy how long Peter Pan's Flight, though
a
it's
lot of
always so
people.
long, so I def yeah, I recommend
It,
getting the lightning lane for that.
I don't see the draw behind it. Like, I don't know. It maybe because I'm a millennial. I don't know. I mean, Peter Pan isn't like super popular in my books, like whereas like Lilo and Stitch
Yeah.
are, or like Lion King, like different times. But I will just never see the need to stand in a hour and some change line for Peter Pan.
Yeah, no.
Never do it.
And I love it, but I won't stand in line for that.
Mm-mm.
And the thing that stinks about the lightning lane, which I assume is same it's the same way, because when we went with my in-laws, we took them on, and I'm pretty sure we had, the lightning lane, the Genie Plus at the time, and you bypass a lot of the queue, and the queue is
Yep.
what makes it so fun.
Yeah.
So if you do get the lightning lane, then you give it if y'all get the lightning lane, you're like, "What is she talking about?" It's
Yeah.
because you missed a lot of the queue. So if you see a
I get that.
20, 25, 30-minute wait,
Yeah.
run to Peter Pan because that's
I think I
that's
did
a
that
short
for
wait for that
Guardians.
ride.
What was it? Guardians, I did back in March. We did Guardians, and I want to say I combined DAS and Parent Swap, and so that got me in like the lightning lane. So I just like breezed through it and skipped everything, and it was still a cool queue. But then when we went this
Mhm.
past September, I just did Parent Swap, so I got in the full line. And it's crazy how much more there is to the Guardians of the Galaxy queue. And I was like, wow. I mean, it's the same with
Yeah.
every, lightning lane. It skips a lot of the good parts of the queue. But,
Yeah,
if
flight of
that's not
passage
your
too.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Flight of Passage is a big one too. If that's not your
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah,
then,
now if you've done it right, if it's your first time going, then yeah, try and make it through, the queue or whatever.
yeah,
But if not, then yeah, skip or right, if you don't care and you just wanna ride it,
yeah.
go for it.
Uh, do we want to talk about each of the parks, or do we just, um,
If you I mean, we could, like, maybe briefly just to give a little bit of tips on what we think, because I think Hollywood Studios is good to mention,
yeah,
um and a lot of the questions we get, and it's hard to answer because you don't really know what the crowds are going to be like when
yeah,
folks are going. So like Josh and I in October, we got lightning lane. I did it every both days that we were there, and we didn't really need it. But I always rather get it and not need it than opposite. But
yeah,
Hollywood Studios is one, especially because there's not a lot of rides especially,
Mhm.
for smaller kids. So the Slinky Dog Dash and the Toy Story Mania, those, and even Mickey and Minnie's Runaway, those really fill up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And
Slinky Dog
so,
Dash is always the first to go, like guaranteed every single time.
yeah, so that one's definitely, if that's, if you have Toy Story loving, kids, I definitely recommend doing Hollywood Studios as a morning park, getting the multi-pass, and doing Slinky Dog as your first
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah,
even
because Slinky
adding,
Dog always
Toy
looks good.
Stories. Yeah. And that's a toss up too, because Slinky Dog and Mickey and Minnie's are both tier one.
Yeah.
But I would pick Slinky Dog over Mickey and Minnie's, because that one sometimes you can get in a line. It's not too
Yeah.
bad.
Tower of Terror too. I mean, it's not a tier one ride, but it's a tier two. You know, this one we always rope drop. If you're rope drop people, like I strongly recommend, and you love Tower of Terror, I strongly recommend booking one of the other rides as your multi pass, and just rope dropping Tower of Terror, because everybody that rope drops goes to Mickey and Minnie's, and they go to Rise of the Resistance. So like every time
Mhm.
we rope drop Tower of Terror, and we're on and off in 5 minutes. Like
I
it's
will
such
never
a
know
short.
that.
Oh, best ride
No,
ever. Love it.
never. They
We have
couldn't
to do
pay
a family
me.
trip to Disney, and we're gonna ride it. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna film
Yeah.
it, and we're gonna get a million views off of it.
Oh gosh. So, quick side note, one of the other podcasts that I follow, the Disney Nerds, Jimmy Horn is a local. He lives in Marrero, and
Yeah.
he tried
Okay.
he tried guilting me into riding it, and saying, "Well, what if I donate so much money to Give the Kids the World in your name?" And I'm like, "That is terrible, because now you're making me feel guilty, but I cannot do it. I'm terrified of heights, and I just, like, the
But you don't
Skyliner is
even
my
know that
limit."
you're up that high. You don't, because it's like whoop whoop, and then you just drop. Like it's
But
fine.
it's so, like, if I knew exactly when it was gonna drop, then maybe I could handle it a little bit,
Then
but
it
it's the
wouldn't be a fun
anticipation of not
ride.
knowing. Well,
That's what
yeah,
makes it.
I'll take your word
That's
for it. Poor Braden got
awesome.
suckered into it on his high school trip, and then his girlfriend, the last time we went, made him ride it, so he's the only one in the family who's done it, and he
Well, I'm
was
gonna
forced.
find this other podcast guy and partner with him on raising money for you to ride Tower of Terror.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah,
But no, like
fun stuff.
the rest of the rides at Hollywood Studios, like you know, Alien Swirling Saucers is pretty easy to get on. Beauty and the Beast live on stage. Frozen sing along, Indiana Jones, Muppet. If you book Muppet Vision 3D as your lightning lane, we need to have a conversation.
Right.
Please don't do
Yeah.
that. Like it's always
No,
the only wait that you will ever have
5-minute
for
wait.
that ride is the wait to get people out of the auditorium and for you to get in. That's it. Um, Toy Story
Yep.
Mania, definitely try to book that one if you can, for sure.
Yeah. My face.
That one is a fabulous ride.
It is so fun. Yep.
Let's stop at
And
Epcot, because
then,
Epcot, I refer to Epcot as my home park because I love Epcot so much. And
yeah.
this is
So
my Epcot.
from tier one, Frozen Ever After, Remy's a Soarin', what you picking?
It depends on where you're staying, in my opinion. It depends on where you're staying and what you're doing. If you're staying at a Skyliner resort and you're down to rope drop, I will always say book Frozen and rope drop Remy's. Because if you rope drop and you get the Skyliner, you do what you're supposed to, you can literally walk right off the Skyliner and on to Remy's. Uh, every time we did it 2 or 3 times this past trip, and we were on and off in like 15 minutes.
Mhm.
If you're not staying at a Skyliner resort, which means, and the reason I say that is because the Skyliner comes in to the back of Epcot, which is
Mhm.
where Remy's is. But if you're not staying at a Skyliner resort and you're coming in the front of the park, Yeah, I would just say, if you got kids, like, do your kids like Ratatouille or do they like Frozen more? If they
Frozen,
don't have
yeah.
kids, what do you like more, Frozen or Ratatouille? Like, I think it's just personal preference at that point. I don't know if I would drop.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would pick Soren. Like Soren, just it can be. It's a hit or miss ride, unfortunately. Like it can be a 15-minute wait. It can be a 45-minute wait. It really just depends.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would pick Frozen or Remy's as well.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I feel like for Soarin' you can always get on there, like you
yeah.
said.
It's just it
And
just
really,
depends
even
on
the
the
tier
day.
2, yeah. I feel like now Mission Space, don't know because I won't do that one either. Um, but I feel like the other ones, like I feel like you don't really need for the other ones either. So
If you're a
Epcot
living
Day
with
is
the land
almost a
If you're living with the land aficionado, that ride I have seen get up to like an hour wait, and it's not an hour wait in my opinion. But I love living with the land, especially Christmas
it's so
time when they
funny.
decorate it for Christmas. Fabulous
Yeah.
ride.
It's so funny because Josh and I went in October, and of course, I had the Lightning Lane, so I was like trying to, and there wasn't really anything to book, so I booked Living with the Land. And then when I don't know if we were still there or if it was after we got home, and we saw like an Instagram reel, I think, and it was like if you waste a Lightning Lane on Living with the Land, I'm like, I just did that, but it was because there wasn't anything else to pick.
There's not Epcot is not a
Yeah,
ride park. It's not.
no,
And that's what I love about it. It's an exploring experience, experiencing the cultures and eating and drinking. Which that latter part is
yeah,
the reason I go. Is the eating and the drinking.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, they have what? They have 1, 2, 3, 10, 10 rides ish. But yeah, they're the Turtle Talk with Crush is almost
was Test
always
Track on here? What was Test Track a tier one? Obviously, they took it off because
I
it's under
just
refurbishment right now.
yeah, I just realized that. And I pulled this from the Disney site. So I just realized Test Track's not on there. I think it's a tier 1.
I feel like
I
it
don't
has to
remember
be. It's
now.
such a popular ride. It's got to be a
I'm gonna
tier
go.
one.
I have some notes. I have some notes from because I have some information that I send out to clients. Let me see if I can find it really quick.
Ah!
Because
I'll have to
that
go
should
there.
still be on there.
Yeah, I'm curious what it was because I just now noticed Test Track isn't on here, and then it was like, oh, it's under refurbishment. That's why.
Yeah, and this is crazy. As many times as I've been to Disney, we've only done, I've only done Test Track once.
I think I've done it twice.
Because I always thought that it would make me sick, like
Mm,
the going in circles.
yeah,
But then I realized when I did it, I'm like, oh, I can do this. It's pretty fun. Oh, my new notes don't have it either. I guess it must have been off when I updated it.
well, we'll figure it out and mention it
Yeah,
in the comments or something.
yeah,
I said Animal Kingdom
yeah.
because that is an all up for grabs. Pick what you can get type park.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
If
definitely going Expedition Everest,
okay,
Safari, and probably Dinosaur.
interesting. Okay,
Would you pick any of those or no?
we would probably be Festival of the Lion King number one all day because the line for Festival of the Lion King is in the sun and it's hot. But the
Yeah,
Lightning Lane is not. Um, Kilimanjaro safaris all day, and then Navi River Journey because Rachel is obsessed with that ride. Don't know why, but she is obsessed with that
it's
ride. It's always every
out.
time we play it, it's like we're gonna rope drop Navi, and I'm like, okay,
It is a pretty cool ride.
it is. It is a good
It's
ride, except for when
it's
the giant avatar doesn't work, and it's just like,
stuck.
yeah,
That's funny. I think I just saw something, one of the Facebookers recently. They must have taken it out to do some work
It's
because
like the
somebody
whole
was,
point of the
there was,
ride.
yeah. I'm like, that would kind of stink to do it, and that was out of
Totally.
it. Yeah.
Feathered for everything else, like, thank God dinosaurs going away, so we ain't gotta worry about that. I'm not a just I'm not an expedition. It's cool, but like I don't know. I just don't get a lot out of Expedition Everest.
Oh, I love it. That's me and Liv's favorite
It's a good
coaster.
ride. Like I don't get enough out of it to be like it's not like Guardians where like you gotta get it.
Yeah.
Feather Friendly
It is
Flight, you
fun though. I can't. We've done it one time. We did it like 2 or 3 times in a row, and I'm like, no, I'm too old for that now. Once, and
yeah,
I can't do it twice in a row.
I
It's
can't really do
very
both.
jerky,
It is.
like
It
at the
is.
end and stuff. Yeah.
It's
So
tough to be a
anyway,
bug, which is soon gonna be Zootopia. So that may be worthy of depending on, the kids, if you have kids, that may be a worthy up and coming multi-pass booking in the future.
yeah, that'll be fun. Check out
But
something
yeah,
new.
that's the multi-pass. I feel like we covered everything that we needed to cover, tips and tricks. It's
Yeah.
it's really just hit or miss. You really got to figure out, Animal Kingdom. You can get away without doing multi-pass for. I think. Um,
I think
you
so
know,
too.
there's ways. I mean, if you're a larger family, like, depending on what you're wanting to do, but like, I think you can easily get away without a multi-pass. Hollywood Studios is a must-have, like all day, because just it can be pretty busy, and some of the really great rides in Hollywood Studios. I mean, you really got to have a multi-pass for, or else you're going to be waiting in some long
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Epcot, I think you can get away without a multi-pass. Just depending on what you're wanting to do. If Frozen and Remy's are not your thing, I wouldn't do it. It's not worth spending the money to me.
Right. Same.
And Magic Kingdom is a must. Like you got to have it. Sorry, all day.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Uh,
only time I get it for Epcot and Animal Kingdom is if I'm park hopping, and so
yeah,
I already have it for the day.
yeah. But it really just like with these things, you really do got to plan. Like you know, and personally, I don't, I have not yet booked them for clients. Um, just because there's a lot of uncertainty that comes into it. Like you really got to come in with your backups. You can't go in with like these are the three I want and these are the three I'm getting because there could be a solid
Right.
chance it's not available, and I don't want to be the one. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. That's like just guessing for my client. I would just rather them do it.
Right.
But you really got to be
Yeah. I'm the
prepared to come
same.
in. Like
Yeah, I haven't done it for clients either. I actually haven't had anyone ask me, but I'll do a phone call before and
yeah, yeah,
we'll talk strategies and kind of give you like same thing what we're doing now.
yeah,
But
all
I
day.
definitely feel like it's better for the clients to book themselves.
Yeah, but you got to know, like, you got to be flexible. Like, and that's the crappy part. Like, you know, it was nice when dining, you know, it was nice back then because, you had more time to be flexible. Whereas, like, at this point, like, everything's locked in. And then 7 days and maybe even 3 days before, like, it just may not work out for you. Like, so you really just got to be flexible with this system. And I mean, if
Yeah.
you're flexible, I think you're going to have a great time and it's just going to be super worth it. Um,
Yeah.
but that's what it comes down to is being prepared and being flexible.
Yeah, I agree.
And then let's talk about the past that tells people you have money without you telling them that you have money.
Right. Right. So the new Lightning Lane Premier Pass. So basically this covers every ride at each park. But this one you cannot park hop. So when you
Nope.
pay for it, you're paying for one park. And as of right now, they're just piloting it, so it's only available to deluxe resort guests. But this one, you have a lot more freedom. because it allows you to ride each ride once a day, but you can do it at your leisure. So you don't have
Yeah.
to book a time. You just walk up to the ride, and I don't know. I assume there's a line at to some extent, just like with the lightning lanes. But you
Yeah.
basically could just go up and pick it. The thing to mention about this is the cost. So now I can say because we kind of heard some speculation about it for a little bit that maybe something was coming. Um, and so I know, and we'll get into, I know we're running close to time, but we'll get to Universal, which is a lot simpler to talk about than Disney. And Universal Express passes are pretty pricey too, depending on how you go about doing it. But the Premier Pass, I looked up some pricing. I picked a random day because we can only go 7 days out for man. Well, it was out a little bit further, but I was comparing it to the multi pass. So November 16th is the magic day that I picked, and the Premier Pass cost for one person for Magic Kingdom on the 16th is $399. So if you have a family of 4, that's basically, $1,600 to pay for that privilege.
Which, there's a lot of conversation going on right now. Like, you know, something we could talk about again in the future, an idea for, podcasts, VIP tours. Like, this is like a big thing that's, this is a real big draw for people who used to pay a hefty bill for VIP tours. Because
Right.
a lot of what a VIP tour is, in that luxury, skipping all the lines.
And
And
going
so
straight
this is a
through.
big
Yeah.
draw for those people because essentially now you can do your own VIP tour. You don't get to see any of the behind the scenes stuff, but you get to pick what ride you want to do when you want to do it, and you just go do it, and you get to look at all the nerds and the
Right.
peasants
And you
in the
don't,
other line and say bye.
right. Right. And you're not locked in the VIP
Yeah,
tour. Initially, you pay for 7 hours. You
yeah,
can extend it if you want, but this, basically you have all day because you're not going to park hop, I assume.
no,
So you have all day to pick and choose which rides you want to do. Um, Epcot for that same day was $229. Hollywood Studios is 309, and Animal Kingdom is 159. Animal Kingdom doesn't get the love. It's
yeah.
always
I'll
it's
pay for
the
Animal Kingdom.
cheapest. Yeah, yeah. I was like 159. Okay.
I do
Um,
that.
but
It was supposed
but
to get
yeah.
up to like
So
400 and something odd dollars for like Magic. Like it's supposed to get up there for Magic Kingdom, and I can't.
you
Like
know,
I mean, I don't. I just can't.
yeah. And there's so much. There's the of course you're going to hear backlash on anything that they do,
Yeah,
with it being not included,
yeah,
like with Universal's Express Pass, it's included in the Premier Resorts. But for Disney Deluxe Resort guests, it's not included benefit.
yeah.
Um, I can't imagine them doing that, especially because there's going to be people that are going to pay for it. So, I don't know if it'll change in the future or if it's gonna, kind of stay
Yeah.
with those prices. I imagine it's gonna probably stay, but it's a big difference. So
I could
Lightning
see
Lane
them
multi-pass.
mimicking Universal because I mean, at the end of the day, like it's a money game, it's a business. Like people sit here and they bash Disney and Universal for being stupid expensive, and it's like it's a business. Like they need their money to run one way or another, and it's inflation. Um, but I could easily see them mimicking Universal and being like, if you stay at a deluxe, it's included. Everywhere
Yeah.
else, or even like specifically like deluxe villas, like stay at a deluxe villa, yeah, we'll give it to you for free. Anywhere else, like no, you got to pay for it. I mean, just like
Yeah.
Universal does.
Yeah. And that same day, so like the Lightning Lane multi-pass for Magic Kingdom on the 16th was $35
Yeah,
compared
so
to
take it.
the compared to the $399 for the now, I mean, with the Premier Pass, you get to ride everything at your leisure, and the Multi Pass, you're risking, what's available. But I think
Now,
for a bit, I'll risk it.
I haven't done a lot of research on Premier Pass because I don't have any clients that want to purchase Premier Pass. Even my client that is staying at a deluxe resort and said, "Nah, I ain't got time for that." Um, what? So is it legit a free for all, or does it follow like Tiana's Bayou? If Tiana's Bayou is out for the day, like, or is Premier Pass exempt from that? I haven't done the training on this yet. I'm not gonna lie.
Like you mean if there's no more Lightning Lane passes for Tiana's,
Yeah,
like for the Multi Pass?
yeah.
I bel I
I think it's
believe
exempt, isn't it?
No, I believe it's all included.
Yeah.
I think you can just go up. Yeah. It's crazy because
Okay.
Disneyland, which we hadn't really talked much about Disneyland right now, it's just $400 a day.
Yeah.
Um, and then in 2025, it's going to range from 300 to 400. But I'm pretty sure with Disneyland, you can park hop.
Yeah, I think so.
But
Well, let's just dive into Disneyland. The all two parks that they have. Neither of
right.
us having really been to Disneyland, although you've got a trip booked. I have a trip planned. It's not booked, but I have a trip planned. Um, I mean, they
Yeah.
have they have a similar setup with the single pass and the multi pass,
Yeah.
except for there's no tiers. It's just you book what you want to book, and um, you're not limited to tier one, tier two type stuff.
Yeah, and they have one single pass at each park. So Radiator Springs Racers at California Adventure and Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland Park. And then everything else outside of those two are considered in the multi pass.
Yeah.
So, and then their premier pass, of course, includes everything
What I do
in the
like,
parks.
what I do appreciate about Disneyland is that Disneyland you can purchase it with your package.
Yeah,
Um, so when you book your Disneyland trip and you book, your tickets, your hotel, you can opt to go ahead and purchase the Lightning Lane, um, multi pass, included in your package. I really wish Disney would do that, Disney World, just because it's
hmm
super nice not to have to like it's already there included in your package. Because it is kind of painful to you know book a $4,000 trip 30 days prior, pay that $4,000 off, and then go around in 7 days before. You pay another.
you have to stay it again. Yeah,
You can pay another $1,000 depending on how many people you're in your family, and what you're trying to do. Whereas Disneyland, like it's all included in the same package, which that is
including again.
a
Yeah,
really big part. I feel like Disneyland does a lot of things better than Disney World, um, when it comes to like
except their
booking,
dining.
except their
Yeah.
dining. Yes, we won't talk about their dining. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty. I mean, it's the exact same as Disney World, minus a couple different things. Um, I don't know. What do we really want to harp on it too much, or do we just want to go over to Universal?
I think we can go over to Universal,
Yeah,
because it's the same concept, so it's just, you know, picking if you want the single pass or going straight to the multi-pass,
yeah.
or both, and then booking your rides.
So Universal Orlando, not to be confused with Universal Hollywood, which doesn't have an express pass. Universal Orlando has two different, well, I guess three express passes.
The
Well,
standard
yeah, you've got the standard express pass, which is, it's kind of similar to the Premier Pass, in that, You get to skip the regular. You get to skip the line. On one time at each ride in the park. Um,
Yep, and you don't have to book it. You just go up to
yeah.
it and scan in.
And then if you've got that two park ticket, there's you can just go between the parks and just use it. Like there's no,
Yeah,
oh well, I need to do so many at this park and then go over to that park. Like Universal Express Pass, you go back and forth as much as you want. You ride each ride one time. Um, it's not a bad price either. Like honestly, when you think about it, the Universal Express Pass is only like 89 on a good day. It's only like $89. It can get up there. The
yeah,
website shows it going up to like $289, but that's probably going to be like your major holidays. Like if you're going on Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, like you're going to see some higher prices. But $89 to ride every ride one time and skip the lines, like sold.
yeah. I would,
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Rachel and I
Yeah,
went to Universal in 2019, 19, 20, 2020, and of course we got the Express Unlimited, and back then we didn't know what that meant. um, but we rode every single ride and we're done. Of course, it was just two of us, but we rode every single ride and we're done by like 3 o'clock. Like it really
sounds
is
good.
that it's a great. I love the Universal Express Pass.
Yeah, I have some of the agents that I work with, they won't go without it, and I haven't done it yet. So I guess I don't know what I'm missing, but the next time I go, I'm definitely getting it just to
Yeah,
check it out.
and you've also got the Universal Express Unlimited Pass, which is it's a the Express Pass on steroids. You can just ride
Yeah,
every ride
multiple.
as much as you want all day, every day in any park that you have a ticket for. You just show up and you just go in the express. Which Universal, you've got it's like a card, and so you typically get a lanyard, put it around your neck, and they just scan your Express Pass. But that one's only like $20 more, and you get unlimited rides to every ride. So it really is. That's the one that we had because when we went to Universal, I had a buddy tell me to stay at a Premier Hotel, and it was included. So we
Yeah,
stayed at Hard Rock Hotel, which gorgeous hotel. Um, but yeah, so we stayed at Hard Rock Hotel, and we got the free unlimited express pass, and it was fabulous, solid. I
yeah,
wish
that's
I wish Disney would adopt something similar. Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, because especially because the price points are a lot different right now. On some days Disney's like double the
yeah,
cost of the Universal. And yeah, so the and along with Hard Rock, you can stay at Royal Pacific or Portofino Bay. Portofino
yeah,
Bay is on my bucket list.
mm,
When we went there for our agency trip a few years ago, we had a dinner there. That resort is beautiful. Like that's one of the ones that I definitely want to stay at.
yeah.
And it is good to mention that unfortunately, the one ride that is not included in the Express Pass is Hagrid's.
Oh yeah, because that was virtual queue, right?
I
That was
think at one point it
that way
was,
went. It
yeah.
was virtual queue. Um,
So yeah, because that would be worth it right there.
it's worth it already. Like it's just like we've spent like, and this is just gonna sound bad. Please know that my heart lies at Disney. If you're listening to this podcast, Disney will always be my home. But we spent an hour and 2 minutes, and we have primarily only covered Disney. We have spent maybe 5 minutes talking about Universal,
And we're done with
and we're
Universal.
pretty much done because it's just
Yeah,
that simple. Like get the express pass and ride every ride once. Get the unlimited, ride as much as you want. Like, have a great
yeah,
day. And it's like
yeah,
a
and
quarter of the price. Like,
Right. And the good thing to do too is that you can compare the prices. Price out a premier resort where it's included, or price
Yeah,
out one of the other resorts that it's not included and include the express pass and then just see which one comes out cheaper
yeah.
and go with that. Because again, I it's Universal's great. I don't think it's a 4-day park.
No,
So
not at all.
especially if you got the express pass, I mean, you can knock out everything in a day,
Yeah.
2
I
days,
mean,
you
again,
know?
Rachel and I went. We checked. We drove down. This is when we lived in North Carolina. We drove down on a Friday, checked in. We did one park on Saturday. We're done by 3 o'clock. Didn't really know what else to do with our lives. We did the other park on Sunday. Again, we're done by like 3 o'clock. This was having ridden some rides multiple times. Like the Mummy, we rode
Yeah.
that multiple times. The Jason Bourne show did that multiple times. Some of the Harry Potter rides did those multiple times. We did multiple rides multiple times, and we were done with everything and went back home Monday. Like
Yeah.
it's easily with Express Pass, even just the basic Express Pass. It's a 2-day park. Now, once Epic Universe opens, it's going to be a different story, um,
Yeah, and
which I'm
hopefully
intrigued to see.
I know initially, the express pass is not gonna be
No,
included.
yeah,
Um, so it'll be interesting to see, if they add that, um, to it.
I think they will. I think they're just going to give it some time to let the massive crowds get in and not get to ride everything that they want to ride. And then guess what? They're going to have to book another trip to come back so that they can get to experience some of the other stuff that they didn't get. And then once the crowds kind of die down, then we'll introduce the Express Pass to Epic
Yeah.
Universe. Um, Also worth mentioning, if you're a water park fan, Volcano Bay does have, two Express Passes, the basic Express Pass and the Express Pass Plus. You know, which are mirror images of the Express Pass and the Unlimited Pass for the theme parks. Which one allows you to skip the line at one time at each water
Once.
ride, and then multiple times all day if you want to swim all day if that's your thing. Then cool. Not a water park person again,
Yeah,
but
I'm not either. It's crazy. Even before COVID, germs, I just have a phobia of
yeah,
public pools.
that's fair.
And then, well, because we have, what is it, Blue Bayou over in Baton Rouge,
Yeah,
the water park. And then there's one in Gulfport. And so, of course, Olivia's my adventurous child, so she likes to go to those things. And so, but then I started seeing articles about the diapers and the Band-Aids in the water. And ever since then, I'm like, no.
in the great
No
words,
offense to folks who like to do water parks, but
in the great words of a Disney lifeguard back in September, Code Brown.
yes. So I'm
Yep,
like, can't do it.
yep. We were like,
Yeah.
"Why is the pool getting cleared out?" And they were like, "Code Brown." I was like, "Oh, okay, time to go the other way."
Yeah. Funny
Uh,
lifeguard when we were at Aventura on our trip. I'm standing at the pool and this guy walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, do y'all have towels out here for guests?" And I'm looking around. I'm like, "I don't work here." I'm like, "Why is he asking me about towels?" And then I realized that the lifeguards had on red shorts and a white shirt, which is what I had on. So
nice.
he thought I worked there. Yeah, I'm like, "No, sorry." I'm like, "I think they have some towels over there, but I
You
don't
should
work
have just
here."
started walking him around, showing him things. Would be
I
great.
know, that would've been fun. Yeah. I mean, it is my dream to work in Orlando one day, so
Facts. I
I
want to
guess I
be. I
missed
don't care what I
my
do.
chance.
Ideally, I will finish my scuba diving certification, and I will go work as cleaning the tanks of Under the Seas with Nemo and Friends. If not, I'll be a janitor. I'm totally fine with picking up trash at the happiest place on the earth. I don't
Oh,
care.
that's what I tell Josh all the time. I'm like, "I don't care if I just, like, I'll be a greeter,
Yep.
I'll clean the trash." Now, if I would have known when I was younger how much I would love Disney, I would have loved to go to some kind of animal school and
Yeah,
work at Animal Kingdom because that's my favorite park. But I'm
that's
too
my
old for
goal
that
for
now, so I have to
Harper.
settle for. What's that?
That's my goal for Harper. She loves animals, so I just got to get her to college and then get her into the Disney college program so that way she can become a Disney employee and I can get all of the benefits. And hopefully she'll work at
There you
Animal
go. Yes, that would be fun.
because they
That's
get
my dream.
family members get solid discounts.
Sweet. I have to maybe talk Olivia into that.
Yes, one of my coworkers, her daughter, did it last year, and I'm telling you, like the discounts, like they stayed at Grand Floridian for like $200-300 a night.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
One of
yeah,
Olivia's old cheer buddies is there right now doing it.
that's
That's
a
awesome.
bucket list resort for me, but that's also another conversation for another podcast.
Yeah, I think we need to do like our top 5 and do like top 5 resorts maybe, and then we could do another one where we do top 5 restaurants. I think that would be fun. And it'd
All
be
day.
fun to like get the listeners involved and give us their top 5s
Yeah,
or some stuff. So yeah, especially now that we're going to be releasing episodes more often, we will have some more fun topics coming up.
yeah. Every week, starting this week.
Yes, it's awesome. I'm excited.
Well, I guess last week because we're releasing Wednesday. This episode will be from the week after, but they get it.
Yeah, starting
Okay, cool.
December. I mean
Yeah.
December. I'm all over the place. November 13th is our release date where we'll start releasing
Yes.
weekly instead of twice a month.
Yep. So that about wraps it up.
Sweet.
A lot of good information when it comes to multipass, and the multipass or the lightning lanes, at Disney and the express passes at Universal. If you guys have any questions about either of these or looking for any tips or tricks, definitely just leave us a comment in the videos, or if you're listening on one of our audio channels, definitely just leave us a comment on our channel, and we'll be happy to get back to you. Of course, as always, you can reach out to us at info@GoingBeyondTheCastle.com, or you can find all of our podcasts. You can like, follow, subscribe to everything that we do through our beacons page at beacons.ai /GoingBeyondTheCastle. And one of the things that I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to text you as soon as we get off here, is I'm going to add both of our social media pages to the Beacons page. So that way, if people want to reach out to one of us directly through one of our social media channels, they can just go to our Beacons website. And that way, every week, we don't have to keep giving our little spiel about this is how you get a hold of me. We'll just,
sounds good. Yeah, perfect.
Any last words of wisdom or food for thought?
Nope. Just like you said earlier, when you go onto the parks, you do have to plan it out. So you don't have to be so strategic where you're planning every minute of every day, but you do have to have some kind of idea.
Yeah.
Don't wing it, because if you wing it, you may leave feeling like you missed a lot. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, definitely, like I said, make sure you go like, subscribe, follow all of our channels. That way you can stay up to date with all things Going Beyond the Castle, to include our Facebook page and our Facebook group, which we're trying to grow. So please like and share those with all your friends. But with that being said, thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys again next week.
Bye.
Thank you for being part of this enchanting journey with us. Stay connected by following us on Facebook at Going Beyond the Castle Podcast and joining our community in the Going Beyond the Castle Podcast Lounge Facebook group. For all your travel needs, contact the official travel agents of the Going Beyond the Castle Podcast at info@beyondthecastlepodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, see you real soon.